There are many people in this world who are jacks of all trades, but absolutely masters of none. However, every now and again, someone comes along who is a jack of all trades and is a master of them all. Hello, welcome back to the Adrian Project. I'm Adrian with a face for radio, and on today's episode I'm going to be doing a plain talking review of Bruce Dickinson's autobiography, What Does This Button Do? So, cue the music. Born in 1958 in Worksop, Nottinghamshire in the UK, Bruce Dickinson, Iron Maiden's legendary frontman, is one of the world's most iconic singers and songwriters. But there are many strings to Bruce's bow, of which larger-than-life lead vocalist is just one. He is also an airline captain, aviation entrepreneur, motivational speaker, beer brewer, novelist, radio presenter, film scriptwriter, and an international fencer. Truly one of the most unique and interesting men in the world. In What Does This Button Do? Bruce contemplates the rollercoaster of life. He recounts in his uniquely anarchic voice the explosive exploits of his eccentric British childhood, the meteoric rise of Maiden, summoning the powers of darkness, the philosophy of fencing, brutishly beautiful bowings, and firmly dismissing cancer like an uninvited guest. Bold, honest, intelligent and funny, this long-awaited memoir captures the life, heart and mind of a true rock icon and is guaranteed to inspire curious souls and hardcore fans alike. Yeah, Bruce Dickinson's autobiography, What Does This Button Do? Again, it is an autobiography and an absolute ocean of autobiographies, be it musicians, actors, television personalities, but Bruce Dickinson is one of them men who's lived enough in his lifetime that we mere mortals couldn't have if we had our life 10 times over. And this book just details his life right up until a couple of years ago when he was just recovering from cancer. As normally does in all these kind of books, to start off with the childhood, and what a refreshing change. His childhood wasn't full of the usual beatings and abusive parents and drug dealing and whatever. He, for the most part, seemed to have a pretty normal late 50s, early 60s childhood, as normal as you could be in them days. Now, he was born in Worksop, which is literally 8 miles away from where I live. So he was born in 58, I was born in 64. So, you know, the world he details when he was growing up, I absolutely recognise that world because, like I say, we're both from what are now ex-mining villages, and I say we know both knew how hard it was in them days growing up, and back in those days where your parents had to work and it was a normal thing to go and live with your grandparents, so I can, yeah, I can relate to his early upbringing there. So like I say, it's refreshing change. I've read so many biographies and autobiographies, especially from American musicians, that seems to kick off with the parents were forever fighting. They hated the kids. They used to knock them about and this, that, and the other. And it's just a refreshing change that he's got a relatively, normal childhood to go from. To document him, like I say, growing up on Manton Crescent, which I think I know where it is. That actually, which is near Manton Colliery, or what was Manton Colliery. It doesn't exist anymore. And up through his school life, and how he got on at school. He felt a bit of an outsider, a bit of a loner. But as any psychologist will tell you, that's usually the sign of somebody with a very, very high intelligence. And we all know Bruce has got intelligence to spare. He's got in bucket loads. So in hindsight, there we can understand where it's coming from. It goes on to his time going to university. Now when he was growing up, he wanted to be a drummer, but during his time through school in the latter years and in university, he did actually realise that I've got quite half decent singing voice, which for the world at large, we are very, very pleased that he discovered that. It goes through his usual musical upbringing, what he was listening to, what his friends were listening to, and what music he got into, plus how he auditioned for the usual run of bands that you'll never have heard of and bands that you'll never hear ever. And then, cutting a long story short, he really relocates down to London and he joins up with Paul Sampson and became Sampson's lead vocalist for quite a few years. That wasn't all plain sailing. It's documented in the book there. And of course, 1982 comes along and that infamous meeting with Rod Smallwood that eventually would lead him to becoming the vocalist to the biggest heavy metal band on the planet. I know there's people out there say, well, Metallica at biggest, la-di-da and all this. If it wasn't for Iron Maiden, there wouldn't be Metallica. That's without a shadow of a doubt. Iron Maiden changed the way heavy metal music was promoted, was packaged, the whole deal, and everybody to a T copied what Iron Maiden were doing and used their blueprint. If you're expecting wall-to-wall Iron Maiden anecdotes in this book, you're going to be a little disappointed. There are quite a few stories in there during his time with Iron Maiden, right up to the point where he left to do his solo career. There's a couple of cracking stories about his time doing his solo career, and of course rejoining Iron Maiden to when they came back and just showed why they actually are the biggest heavy metal band on the planet. Of course, it's just one string to his bow. There are a lot of other things that Bruce does. He goes on to detail his love for fencing and how that helped him through bad patches in his life and how it actually trained and disciplined his mind, something that he carries through with him to this very day. And of course, a very large chunk of this book will deal with how he's always had a love for aircraft and aviation and how he ended up learning how to fly. And there are a couple of anecdotes in here delivered in only the humorous way that Bruce can do, of times when he was learning to fly, about his first solo flight, and then of course moving on to commercial airliners and flying the infamous Ed 666, the Ed 4666 plane that Iron Maiden do the world tours with. Also, later in the book, he goes into detail about his personal crisis when he discovers that he had throat cancer, which for a singer normally would be the signal for the end of your career. But Bruce, who's a Nottinghamshire lad, built sterner stuff than that, and he wasn't going to let cancer beat him. And this book documents his life, his trials, trying to come to terms with cancer and eventually beating it. There are lots of other little details that I've skipped over it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but like I say, Bruce Dickinson is a very, very intelligent man. He knows how to write, and he can spin a yarn absolutely brilliant. Even if you're not a heavy metal fan, even if you're not an Iron Maiden fan, there's plenty in this book for you to enjoy, and it'll open your eyes into a world that you probably don't know about. Like say, if you're more into rap or Ed Sheeran or stuff like that, or even if you don't listen to music at all, this will open your eyes a hell of a lot of what actually goes on into being into being the biggest band on the planet, and what entails with it, and the pitfalls and everything. Because there's just so much in this book. It'd take a video about 3 hours to tell you absolutely everything. All I could say is just go out and get the book for yourself. It's fantastic, it's awesome. Just as one side note, I had this for my birthday, I think it was. Michael, my son, bought it me, and he also went and got it autographed for me. There we go, Bruce Dickinson's autograph. He got to meet the great man himself at a bookstore down Nottingham, and yes, that is a roll of kitchen paper that I've stood the book on. It saves all in it and makes your all mate doing that. So there we go. So Bruce Dickinson, what does this button do? What does this book do? It does a hell of a lot, because I tell you, if you want inspiration to get off your backside and do something with your life, this is the book for it. Now, I know you're going to sit there and you're going to say, well, he's a multimillionaire, he can afford to do anything. Thing is, he wasn't always a multimillionaire. He was like the rest of us. He wasn't in the 1% that was born with a silver spoon in his mouth where money's no option. He did it the hard way. He did it through hard work and determination. And what I've got from this book is don't listen to the naysayers. Whatever age you are, I'm 56 and I still want to do things with my life. Whatever age you are, don't let other people tell you you can't do it. Just because you've got some 22 snot-nosed university student that's come out, ink still wet on his fingers, thinking he knows it all, and saying, oh, you can't do this because you're too old, or you're too fatty, you're too thin, you're too baldy, you're too ugly. Well, you say, fuck you, because I can do whatever I like and I'm going to do it. And as long as you get off your backside and give it your all and try, then at least you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, I failed, but at least I give it a go. That's what I get from this book. It is awesome. So, with all that in mind, ratings time, it could only be one, couldn't it? And I'm going to give Bruce Dickinson's What's This Button Do? My full 5 Evil Ednas. So, have you read this book yourself? What did you think? Is it everything you expected it to be? Would you have liked more Iron Maiden stories, more anecdotes? Would you have liked a bit less on the aviation part? Just let me know in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you what you thought of the book as well. Not only is today May the 4th Star Wars Day, but it also happens to be Clara Mine's 7th wedding anniversary. So I'd just like to wish the most beautiful woman in the world a happy wedding anniversary. Many, many thanks for making it the best 7 years of my life. And here's to 70 more. Thank you. I love you so much. And that's the end of yet another episode. I hope you all enjoyed that one. If you did, and you haven't done so already, could you please remember to subscribe to my channel. At the moment, I'm aiming to get 1,000 subscribers. And as soon as I hit that 1,000th subscriber mark, I will donate at least £20 to Macmillan nurses here in the UK. For those of you living outside of the UK and you don't know who the Macmillan nurses are, they are there to help everyone with cancer live life as fully as they can, providing physical, financial and emotional support. I myself have had their services firsthand and I can tell you they are exceptional. A lot of the time they do have to rely on public donations, so if you'd like to find out more about Macmillan nurses, or in fact give a little donation yourself, then please visit www.macmillan.org.uk. Okay, I'd like to thank you all again for watching. It's very, very much appreciated. Don't forget, you can still follow me on Facebook and on Twitter if that's going to be easy for you. And here's to seeing you all again on the next episode of the Adrian Bow Project.